Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead. We are on our porch today shelling peas. These are the Red Ripper peas. They're extremely long. They're probably, let's see, I'm going to say what, 10 to 12 inches long. Very nice peas. They fill out real well, make fantastic pea to eat. Now to me personally, they have a little bit of a peanut taste to them. Something that I happen to enjoy in a pea. They have a kind of a pinkish color to them, kind of like the color of my skin almost on my hand. A lot like a butter pea. If you're familiar with butter peas, they look a lot like that. But one of the reasons we like this pea is because of its hardiness. Being we're going into a solar minimum, not knowing exactly which type of solar minimum it is, whether it's a Malter minimum or a Dalton minimum or whatever one it is, these peas have withstood the elements a lot better than any other pea we've had on our property. We've done basically no maintenance to these peas whatsoever other than weeded them out one time, and they're covering like 10 feet wide. Each plant has runners running out at least 10 feet, and they're covered with peas everywhere. So probably in the near future, with the solar minimum being like it is, this is probably going to be our go-to pea because we've had no problems with the aphids on them. I've seen very few stink bugs on them. Now we have regular pink-eye purple hulls planted in a separate spot up here in the front garden, which is probably over 200 yards away from there. We've had multiple problems with the lice on them, or aphids, whichever one you want to call it. We've had just one problem right after another with the pink-eyed purple hulls, and we are working with them as much as possible, trying to make sure that they, survive. And it looks like they're going to pull out finally at the end because we've pulled up most of them that had the aphids on them because there was just too many. We went in, we tried to do the washing off thing, and that just wasn't working. So the Red Rippers seems to be a pea that is extremely hardy here in the Deep South. It seems to be able to take the humidity really well. Doesn't seem to be an issue. So that's going to be our pea to go to, I'm pretty sure, in the future. I'm going to be showing y'all in just a little while some of them that we save for seeds, what they look like, how they shell out, and how you save these for next year's planting. Red Ripper is a pea it's a southern cowpea. It got its name field pea. I don't know if it really actually got its name, but it's called a southern field pea because these peas were usually went in behind rice or corn or something like that for years and years and years, and it's used as a nitrogen fixer in the soil. It's called it's like a pea on steroids, because when it gets to going, man, it takes off. It's often been said that if you just leave them alone all summer long and go back to where they're at, especially if you put them in the cornfield, by the end of summer it looks like a whole field of kudzu. Not only are they like a field of kudzu, I mean they were actually used by the farmers a lot of times. They would turn their cows in on them at the end of the season, and the cows would go in and graze through, and they would eat the dried peas, and they'd eat the vines and feed on all that. And now these are not green ones that I'm shelling. These are the dry ones. They rattle when you're like a baby's rattler when you rattle them, and they're not that hard to shell. They're a little bit hard for me today because I got a place busted on the end of my thumb from picking figs, so it makes it a little bit difficult for me, but they shell out real easy. They usually have about 18 peas. I've been noticing, because I'm a little bit OCD when I do things, I've been sitting here counting how many peas is the average in a pod, and these have an average of 18 peas per pod. The thing I like about them is they have, if you've ever eaten peanuts, they have a peanut taste to them, and I like that. And they're usually a large pea, so when you go to shell them out, they add up rather quickly. they can real well. That's one thing about it. They make they're good fresh or dried. You can use them just like you do any dried bean. You can soak them in water, rehydrate them, and cook them, or you can cook them fresh while they're green. It has a number of different ways you can use them. They're extremely nutritious, full of lots of proteins and stuff like that. They were a favorite of the country for, like I said, these has been around for, I think I read somewhere like 300 years they've been around. So that's really good. And there was a point and period in time, back when my dad was a kid, that the federal government actually paid people to plant these things in the fields to help raise the nutrition of the soil so that the country would have enough food and fertile enough land to feed themselves. Isn't that amazing that the government would do that? Now, they try to take our food away from us and not help us to grow it, but take it away. So I thought that was kind of interesting. My dad was telling me that about how the government used to come in and pay them to plant peas in their fields to raise the nutritional value of the land. I just thought that was just amazing. Shows you what kind of time difference in how that we think different in the country now than we used to. This is going to be our go-to pea in the future. We're learning that some things that are the older varieties were there for a reason and for a purpose, and it's and we're going to just carry that tradition on here at Deep South Homestead because we now have cows and we have goats and stuff like that. We need to be able to raise the fertility of our land, so we're going to start. Should the old expression goes, SHTF happens and you can't come up with any fertilizer, well, we're saving a lot of our own seed and things like this so that we can go back and replant the fields in this to give our land some nutritional value, some nitrogen back in the soil for the following year. So anytime you're shelling out dry peas, don't let it freak you out. The dry peas a lot of times has worms in them. And it's a little tiny white worm, about 1/4 of an inch long. Usually what I'll do is when I get through shelling these peas, I'll put them in the freezer for about 2 weeks, and that will kill any of those little larvae that's in there and do away with them, and then I can take them out and store my peas for the winter, because if you don't do that, what will happen is you'll store your peas, and come next spring when it comes time to plant them, you just have a bag full of dust because those worms will have hatched out in there. And this goes for any peas that you've bought in the store or anything else. They've been done the same exact way. A lot of them have been irradiated or frozen for a little while in order to kill that larva that's in them and stop them from being able to eat up by the worms that's in them. So don't let that bother you. It's just normal. So don't be alarmed. Just stick them in the deep freeze for 2 weeks and then take them out and you should be fine to go. I hope today y'all enjoyed this. It's been a little bit educational for you, so thank you from Deep South Homestead.